Hey guys, welcome to the Kenect Kitchen. I'm Karman Meyer, dietitian and recipe creator behind thenutritionadventure.com. And I'm here to show you one of my favorite vegan recipes, tofu spring rolls with a carrot ginger sauce. They're so easy to make and they're great for a light lunch. Plus, if you need something to grab and go, these are a great option. So let's get started. I'll show you all the ingredients you need, super easy and flavorful. For this recipe, all you need is some extra firm tofu, Boston lettuce or living lettuce works, avocado, cucumber, red bell pepper, sriracha if you like it, cilantro, and then we definitely need our rice paper wraps. And so this recipe is packed with protein from our extra firm tofu, so it's a good source of plant protein. And we have to make sure to press the tofu and help remove some of the water content that helps remove that moisture. That way all the other flavors adhere to it better. So to do that, I just press it between paper towels and it removes that moisture. It takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Just take your tofu block and press it between 2 plates. So I have my 1 plate and I just set it on top. That helps press out the moisture. You can let that sit for a couple minutes and then come back, change out your paper towels. So I do this a couple of times. And we want to use the extra firm tofu because it holds up really nicely in the spring rolls and it has a good texture. All right, now that we've pressed all of that moisture from the tofu, you can move it to your cutting board and we'll cut this into strips. So first I cut it in half and then cut that portion into half again, turn it sideways, and we'll cut this into small strips. I want them to be maybe about a 1/4 inch thick, and then you can cut those strips again so you can see we have nice little sections. It's okay if they fall apart. We'll still use them in our spring rolls. Tofu is a great source of plant-based protein and it also contains iron and calcium. So if you're looking for an extra source of either of those, know that tofu is a good option. Next we have our cucumber. This gives a nice fresh bite in our spring rolls, and I've already removed the seeds. I just used a spoon and went down the center of the cucumber to take the seeds out. And the reason I do that is just to prevent a lot of extra moisture in the spring rolls. And cut that in half, so remove your seeds, and then it's important to cut these into thin strips, just like our tofu. We want to have a nice, uniform consistency with every bite that we take of the spring rolls. So we want all of the veggies going inside to be cut in a similar format. So that means I'm going to cut this cucumber in half again so I can get strips. And so you can see we have a nice thin strip of that cucumber. It's just what we want. It looks just like our tofu. Now we have our cucumber sticks. Next, we'll move on to our bell pepper. I chose red bell pepper, but if you prefer orange or yellow, feel free to use that instead. And when you're cutting a bell pepper, I like to stand it upright, and then we will take our knife and run it around that stem. This just helps us avoid removing all the seeds on the inside so they stay attached to that stem. Just makes for easy cleanup. All right, now we have all of our bell pepper pieces. Same thing as the cucumbers. We're going to cut these into strips. Just remember when you're cutting your bell pepper, keep the shiny side of that skin down as you're cutting. Just makes it a little safer as you use your knife and you cut through that bell pepper. We have some avocado. So I've already cut this in half, and then we want thin strips with this as well. When you cut an avocado, you can actually cut it in the skin. So with your knife, cut into the flesh with your knife Just don't go through that skin. And we'll get those nice thin strips. We'll leave it in there until we're ready to use it. To remove the pit of the avocado, you can actually take your 2 thumbs behind the pit and use it to actually push that pit out. Just needs a little nudge. And then we can continue cutting it into slices. The other ingredient that we're including in our spring rolls is either some Boston lettuce or living lettuce. Essentially that means with living lettuce, it has the root still attached, and we've already washed this. We can just pick off a few leaves. We'll use 1 leaf for every spring roll. So I'm just gonna grab a few of these so they're ready to go. All right, now that we have our lettuce leaves, I've already washed my fresh cilantro and patted it dry. We don't have to chop this. I'll just pick some leaves off as we assemble our spring rolls. Now we're ready to get rolling. In order to prep our rice paper, we have to heat some water in a dish. So I like to use a shallow plate or a pie plate works, and I just fill it with water. You can place it in the microwave and heat for about 60 seconds. We want it warm enough that it soaks the rice paper, but not too hot that you can't put your hands in it. All right, the water is heated, and now we can start with rolling all of our spring rolls. I like to make sure to do 1 spring roll at a time. We just gently press the rice paper into the water. You'll start to notice the dry rice paper has like some ridges or a pattern on it, and as it softens, that pattern starts to go away. And that's when you know it's ready for rolling. Now these can be a little tricky to work with. It takes a little bit of time and patience, but I promise it's fun, so just stick with it. And place it onto a cutting board or even a plate works. And it's okay if some of the edges fold over. You can just dip your hands in the water, get them wet again, and then just smooth it out. All right, we're going to start with one of our lettuce leaves first. Place it on the paper. Grab 2 sticks of your tofu, couple bell pepper strips, cucumber, and then some of those cilantro leaves that you'll just tear, place on top. We can't forget the avocado. It adds a nice creamy element to this spring roll. I use the back of my knife to help just guide the avocado out. Sits nicely on top. And then if you're using it, your sriracha. Just a nice drizzle over top. Now we get to package up our spring roll. So I grab from the part that's closest to me, fold it up and over all of those ingredients. Then we grab the sides, fold it in, and then we roll the rest of the way. We have a nice, beautiful little spring roll. I love how just perfect they are. So now that we have our spring rolls made, we're ready to serve. And I'm using just a store-bought carrot ginger sauce because I love how well it pairs with these flavors. But if you have another sauce that you prefer, go ahead and use that. And if you're not ready to eat all of these in one sitting, or maybe you're trying to meal prep for the week ahead, these will actually keep for up to 3 days in the refrigerator. I like to wrap them individually in plastic wrap and then put them inside an airtight container. That way, when you go to take 1 or 2 out, they're not sticking together. The rice paper has a tendency to want to stick to itself. Let's try a bite of these. Gotta get a good amount of sauce on here. So good. They're pretty spicy from that sriracha, which I like, but very flavorful. And I love the crunch that you get when you bite into that. Plus the rice paper, it just has that kind of chewy texture, which to me is the best part of the spring roll. I hope you enjoy these tofu spring rolls as much as I do and have fun making them at home. Remember, cooking should be enjoyable and nourishing, so cook with confidence, eat with joy, and I'll see you next time.